Hello everyone, it's Melanie. I cannot believe that I have not made a video in almost 3 weeks. I don't know what happened to the time. Well, I kind of do, but at the same time I don't. So I was going to come on and make a video because I was out of town before I went to a quilting retreat and it was absolutely wonderful. So I was gone for that, and then this week I'm leaving. I'm going to Colorado for an art class, a painting class, which I can tell you about in a few minutes. So I was thinking to myself, oh, I should make a journal to take to this painting class. I'm going to, it's in Castle Rock, Colorado, this weekend. And it's Pam Garrison. I don't know if you're familiar with Pam Garrison, but she's fantastic painter and journal maker and stitcher. I actually went to a class with her in North Carolina back in, I think, 2015. That was just great. And I was looking for a date, but we made this journal in that class. It's made out of two flat canvas boards. But anyway, so I've been to a class with her before that was more on sketchbooking and journaling and stuff like that. This one is 2 days of painting flowers. It's literally my dream. Oh, I'm so excited. So I thought I should make a new journal to take with me. Like this one I made at that class in North Carolina, and it has, you know, a bunch of doodling and things in here that I did while I was in. This is actually like an exercise we did in class, in the workshop. Some watercolors. So it actually has quite a bit of stuff that I did while I was there at the class in North Carolina. Oh, there it is. Yeah, it was in, and Jennifer Mercedes was also there. They both have some cool classes on Creative Bug. But anyway, it was in 2015. And so I have this, which is, I haven't really added a lot to it because so much of this I did when I was at the class there in North Carolina. So I kind of like the fact that even though it's not full, it's pretty much stuff that I just did at that class. So I was thinking I kind of wanted to make another journal that I could just use for this class. I know we're going to have some projects because Pam said that the canvases and things will be supplied, but I thought maybe, you know, for my note-taking and everything, I could make this. So I pulled out some paper. This is some Canson watercolor paper. It's 11 by 15. I have this Bristol paper, which is more for pencil and pen sketching. It's really not great for water media, like for watercolor. It's 11 by 14. I have this vellum that I have a huge pad of from when I was doing landscape design. So I pulled out some pieces of this really beautiful vellum, and I love marker on vellum. It's so smooth, but it does bleed through, so you have to be careful about that. And then I have some of this True Ray construction paper, which I got on Amazon. I learned about this from an online class or online workshop that I did with oh my goodness, now I can't remember her name. Okay, I'll remember it and try and put it in the description below. Robin Marie Smith, that's her name, Robin Marie Smith. But this is amazing construction paper. So it's like, I guess the best way I could describe this construction paper is it's construction paper for adults, if that makes sense. It's really durable, it's thick, it takes water. It's not like that construction paper that you find, you know, that comes, I mean, you can get this in multiple colors, but it's it's so much better. It's really cool. Anyway, I can put a link to this down in the box below, but this was 11, oh, this is 12 by 18. And then I have some really big ledger book pages that I trimmed down to 11 by 15. So what I was thinking was just doing a few signatures because I never seem to fill up a journal. So here's, okay, you saw this one. This one I made at a class and workshop in North Carolina. So let's see, I have this one. It's got, what, 3 signatures made out of an old book cover. I made this in 2014, and it has 1 page that I've actually painted something on. And I think this is either watercolor paper or mixed media, but I'm tending to think that this is mixed media paper. But that's the only thing I put in here. I don't know if I was going to do like botanical illustrations in here or what, but that's a watercolor of a ginkgo. So I have this one already, but I was thinking, well, maybe I don't even need to make the other one. So then I started pulling out these others that I've made. Here's another one. This one has 4 signatures, and it's made out of a French gardening book. So then I've got this one, and it's probably the same, around the same time, 2014. I didn't put a date in it. Oh yeah, 2014. So this one is also either watercolor or mixed media paper, but this one I was using for just journaling, and I did, what, 3 spreads? 4. That's it. And then I've got the whole rest of this book is blank. Oh, there's one more. So there's that one. And then I pulled this one. This is 2015. This is one I made. I made this one and then took this with me to the class I did with Pam Garrison in North Carolina. And it was, this one is almost full, but I think this one's, well, it's 2015 also. So it's got watercolors and gouache. This is actually, I think this is acrylic. It's even got acrylic in it. But this is some more doodles and paints, and yeah, this was in North Carolina. Different stuff. That was flying back. I upgraded to first class flying back from North Carolina that time, and it was so incredible. Oh my goodness. Warm nuts. It was amazing. And then I guess I kept writing in this one. This is when I tried to draw like Richard Scarry. So this one's just about full, but I like how this one's almost full. I don't like how these have space in the back. And then I pulled out this one. This one has a really cool, this is 3 signatures with a cool binding. Let's see, I did this in 2015. And it's got watercolors in it. This is definitely mixed media paper. So these are more like art journals or sketchbooks. But see here again, this one has, it's almost half empty. I mean, it's got all this space in the back. And then I grabbed this one. Here's another one. This is a Strathmore sketchbook, but I'm pretty sure it's watercolor. Oh, it's mixed media paper. And so then I've got this one that's got painting all, you know, just in the front. And then all this, oh, what's that? All this is blank. Oh, that's ink on Yupo paper. So after I grabbed these off the shelf to see about my, you know, how much of, actually I was thinking, how many pages will I actually use? But then I started thinking, okay, I have all of these that I haven't even put anything in the back of. So maybe I don't even need to make this one. I probably just need to take one of these with me to Colorado and not mess with making another one. So I can't decide. I'm gonna decide. Now I've been talking for 10 minutes about this, but I did show you some of my sketchbook journals. So here's what I was thinking. I found when I started with the watercolor paper and folded it in half. It's 11 by 15. I folded it in half, and I have this needlepoint book, vintage needlepoint book, and I had already torn a lot of pages out. This, I guess I gessoed, put some gesso over it. But it's a cloth book with a pretty small spine. I mean, that's like a ½ inch maybe. Yeah. But the cover's in great shape. So originally I was thinking that I would bind this in a more traditional bookbinding method, you know, and not sew through the spine, but actually make the text, make the signatures, glue them together, attach them with fabric, put in new end papers, the whole shebang, the whole deal. But then I got out all those other books, and I thought, I don't need this. I don't need to get out another, I don't need to make another book. I need to finish using all the ones that I have. Because if I just sit here and look over to my right, I even see more. There are more sketchbooks. So this video is what you call a fail. I was gonna make a book, but turns out I don't need one. So maybe I'll do this when I get back from my trip. I've got all these papers cut. I'll just make it. You know what? I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna make it because you guys deserve a video. That's why. Okay, I'm gonna make it anyway. Let's do this. Let's do it. Okay, what do we want to do here? I'm going to trim. I'm going to trim this out. I kind of wish I didn't have to, but I'm going to trim this out. And I may need to reinforce this spine since I'm not going to make it the same way I was actually thinking about, but I guess I could. Oh my goodness, I'm going to call this video How to Wiffle-Waffle About a Journal for Hours Before You Decide to Make One. Okay, I've got to grab some book tape. Okay, I'm very low on book tape, but this is it's Lineco brand book tape. I think it's mostly used to repair library books, but it is so supremely sticky, and I love using it to reinforce book spines when I'm not going to necessarily, I'm not using anything else to reinforce it. So I'm just going to put a piece of this in here. And I think I need, if I can find them, I don't see any. I try to use my non-stick scissors on it because it's so sticky. So there's the original spine. The cloth that was on the back of the book block is still in there, and I'm going to leave it in there. And then the full end paper is still in here, front and back. So I'm just going to take this book tape and put it over that whole thing. Of course, it's too long. That probably cut off too much. I did. Let's see. I'm going to fold it in half. Start it in the middle, like that. So, where have I been the last 2-something weeks? Well, let's see. First, oh my goodness, look how crooked that is. Oh well. So first, the first thing I did since the last video was I went on a quilting retreat. And I took a whole bunch of stuff with me on my quilting retreat to work on, all kinds of things. But the one thing I really, really, really wanted to get done was my the log cabin quilt that I've shown you in a previous video, which is hand quilting. And it's almost a twin size, but it's really, I just made it to be like a throw for the sofa or whatever. Oh my goodness, that's so crooked. But you know what, I don't even care. So instead of working on anything else that entire weekend, which is Thursday through Sunday, I hand quilted the entire time. So I worked on my quilt, and there are 90 blocks in this quilt, and I don't know how many I did in that span of days, but I kept on working on them when I got back home, and at this point I have 4 left out of 90, and it takes me about an hour per block. So when I finish, I will have 90 hours of hand quilting in this quilt. And you know, a lot of times, I don't know if there's any quilters out there, but I think it happens with a lot of things that we make. You think every time you make one, you make something, you think, this is my favorite. This is my favorite one I've ever made, you know. And I say that all the time about my quilts. You know, each one I'm like, oh no, this one's my favorite. But the one I'm working on right now, that log cabin, I think that one really is my favorite quilt that I've made so far. Maybe I can show you my quilts someday. So there's vellum, and this is the watercolor paper. And I like to use this, this is Canson. I probably got it at Hobby Lobby. Oh, actually look, there's the receipt. I got it at Aaron Brothers in 2015. But I like using this kind of paper in sketchbooks and stuff because it's not as expensive. But for watercolor paintings that I do, like if I'm going to enter an art show or something like that, for paintings I actually use arches, and I prefer the blocks, although I do have some large sheets. But I don't use arches paper in my art journals or sketchbooks because it's too expensive, in my opinion. It's too precious. So I'm thinking, originally I was thinking I could fit 3 signatures in here and that I would alternate. So this is watercolor paper with the watercolor side up. That's a piece of vellum. That's a piece of construction paper. And then this is another piece of watercolor paper with the working side up. And it would make the center spread. So I don't know that I want to add in this ledger paper. I was thinking I could add the ledger paper in just like to take notes on and stuff, but I'm thinking I'm just going to go with 3 signatures, maybe like this, or maybe add in another piece of vellum or something. So there's the center spread, the True Ray paper, the vellum, and then the outside of the signature. Because the other thing is, I love the idea, I really love the idea of taking this journal with me and filling it up. So I put stuff in this, you know, I do stuff in this journal, and when I get back or whatever, you know, with whether it be notes or drawings or paintings or sketches or whatever, I kind of like the idea that I would actually just fill it up. So I think I'm going to stop there with the number of pages that I'm going to put in. So that's for, let's see. Oh, I have to do math. That's 4 times 16. Well, it's a lot of pages. So, let's see. Let me grab this is my punching block book, and I finally punched it until the back cover fell off. I wish I had an old phone book. I guess these days it's kind of hard to, I think they've all been recycled at this point. I never see them anymore. And when I get a new one now, it's that little bitty one. That little short one, I guess, to conserve paper. And where I live, Fort Worth, Texas, it's pretty big. So we also always had a pretty decent sized phone book. They're also really good. They're for pressing flowers. If you find one, they're great for that too. So once I get these in here, I don't know if I want to do, I don't know how I'm going to fit 3 signatures. You know what? Maybe I will do maybe I will stitch this together and then attach it in here like this. Just glue it in to the end paper. Because that way I wouldn't have to try to fit, I'll just put it in there. I'll just do it anyway. So, how big is this? Let me do this. I'm gonna make a little punching template for this. It probably won't be perfect. Let's go with, need some glasses. Nope. I hear police cars or ambulances or something. Nope, that's a fire truck. I hear a fire truck. You can probably hear it too. So I'm going to trim this. This is how I usually do. If I'm just going to do pamphlet stitch spines, this is the way I usually do them. So if I know this, I'm going to center this on the back of the spine. So I'm going to fold it in half to find the center. That'll be my center points. And then I'm going to go down from the top and bottom. There's my center. And then I'm going to go down from the top and bottom, decide how far in I want to go on this end. So I'm going to say about that far from the bottom. And it doesn't have to, for me, this doesn't have to be perfect. So then I have here in the center, and so I'm going to fold the center back to those end holes so that I can get my 5th station. They're called stations when you're doing, so let's get this back out. Put this on here. Let me see. I need a little piece of tape. Big piece of tape. So what else was I doing? So I went to the quilt retreat. That was fun to catch up with my friends because it's a group of friends, a group of girls that I met, ladies that I met through our local modern quilt guilds. And they don't live really close to me, so it's actually the only chance I get to see them. Wow. That is a lot of police cars and ambulances. Okay, so I'm going to punch just in the center of this and then right on either side of it for my 3 signatures. See, that's all I did. And then it'll go through far enough that I can see it on that side. And it doesn't bother me if these aren't straight because Oh, you know what I do need to do? I need to mark the top of this. That's the top. Because when I punch my signatures, wow, those sirens are stopping very close to my house. I wonder if I need to go see what's going on. But what I was saying, it doesn't really matter to me that this isn't going to be perfectly straight. I mean, it is what it is. But you do need to mark the top. So since this is my punching, the template that I'm going to punch from, I need to make sure that that's always going on all of these, that the top is, the head is marked. So put these, mark the head on these, and I can punch the inside. Okay, see what I just did? Okay, head of, you know why? Because this is upside down, it's confusing me. Okay, so here's the head of that. Here's the head of my template. Then I can put it in here like so. And I just threw my all on the floor. Luckily it didn't go through my foot. So I think I've tried like 3 times now to tell you what else I was doing. So I went to the retreat, and then when I got back from the retreat, I helped my husband set up an Airbnb. So that was kind of fun because I got to go through my house and pick out all the stuff, the furniture and things, which we didn't have a whole lot. All the stuff that I didn't want anymore. And I was like, yeah, take this, take this, take this. And then I thought, oh, I can have him take the lamp I'm sick of, and then I can buy a new lamp. You know, that kind of thing. But we ended up actually buying a lot of furniture at IKEA, which is what happened to my fingernails. They're all broken, and that's not from building IKEA furniture. Honestly, it's from opening IKEA furniture boxes. I think every fingernail I lost was trying to open a box. But it was a lot of fun setting it up because we got to totally furnish it, and we stocked the kitchen with all of the required appliances and everything, and it was really fun. It was fun to put it together. So he's in the Airbnb business now. My husband is a real estate broker and home builder. So it's kind of right up his alley, the whole Airbnb thing. And so far, he really enjoys it. He also spent, while he was in college, or actually, maybe he started there when we were still in, no, I guess it was in college. It was after high school. He worked in a restaurant, and he was a bartender and a waiter, and he was there for 10 years. He worked in a restaurant. So he also really enjoys, he's familiar with the hospitality industry, and feels very comfortable there. So he's really enjoying being an Airbnb host. So I worked on the Airbnb, and that took a lot of time, helping him get all that set up. There were, curtains to buy and curtain rods to hang and pots and pans and dishes, and it was really kind of fun. It sort of felt like setting up, like setting up your first apartment or something. It was fun. So he's enjoying that, but now he's got it going, and he hasn't needed If he sets up another one, then I'll get to decorate another one. So, but that was fun. That was a lot of fun, setting it up. Kind of like playing house. So I was very busy with that for a while. And then, what did I do then? After that, oh, I also, in the meantime, while all of this is going on, I also worked on my quilt quite a bit. My log cabin that I'm hand quilting. And I may have to do, if I have time today, because I need to get packed. But if I have time, I might try and make another video, and I can show you the journaling that I've done recently. Not a whole lot of it, but I have not been watching. I cut off way too much thread. Lost my needle. There it is. I haven't been watching much YouTube. I haven't been keeping up with my YouTube, but I have been watching Netflix. And I use the term watching very loosely because usually I'm just listening to it while I'm working on something else. But I had not ever watched, because I guess we don't watch a lot of network TV. We've watched some HBO series, and we are original Survivor fans. We watched, we watched that and Big Brother, the very first season that it was out, and we still kind of enjoy watching Survivor together because we've tried to watch every season. Sometimes I lose interest in it. And it seems like now, I don't know if you're a Survivor fan, but it seems like now they're really reaching. They keep bringing the same people back over and over and over, and it's like, you want to see somebody new, or I do, anyway. But I had never watched, embarrassingly, I had never watched Parks and Recreation. And I had seen the pilot episode, and then I never watched any more of it. But I started watching Parks and Rec last week, and I was, of course, hooked, because that's my kind of deadpan, dry comedy, very, satirical. I loved it. I loved it. So, although I was doing something at the same time, I wasn't just sitting there vegging. I was actually working on my quilt, or I started making this picture thing out of sequins. I worked on that a little bit. So even though I was doing something else, I watched all 125 episodes of Parks and Rec in 8 days. And I'm not proud of it. But that's how I was getting my quilt done. And I don't know how else I'm going to get that quilt done. Because if I do get that, when I get that quilt done, it's just going to be, it's going to be the bomb diggity, because I can't wait to finish it. I can't wait. So I don't know if I have any quilters out there, but let me tell you something else about quilting. So I am terrible, just like you saw all those journals that I started and never finished. I am terrible with starting projects and not finishing them, and especially when it comes to quilts, because they take a long time. They're a lot of work. Somewhere along the line, I got this silly idea that I wanted to hand quilt my quilts. So I've only ever had one quilt quilted by a long arm quilter. I've quilted the rest of them myself, either on my machine or by hand. Quite a few by hand, which I enjoy doing. But a few years ago, I don't know how many years ago it was actually, but a few years ago, I was so overwhelmed with the number of quilts that I had started that I decided to take all the quilts that I'd started that were just basically, you know, I had 6 blocks of this quilt and, you know, 12 blocks for this quilt or whatnot, or, you know, and that kind of thing. So basically, I took all the blocks for all the quilts that I had going and sewed them all together into one giant king-sized quilt. So it cleaned my slate. I don't know whether I would call it a clean slate quilt or an orphan. Well, it's not really an orphan blocks, but so all the quilts that I had started on and didn't finish, or had started on and gotten sick of and that kind of thing, I sewed them all together. So it's a huge, crazy mishmash of quilts all put together, and it's a pretty generous king size, and that's the only one I've ever had quilted. A long armor quilted that one for me, and I really like it. I really like that one, and I really like the fact that when I did it, it was so it was such a great feeling to get it out of the way. You know, like all of a sudden I didn't have any unfinished projects. I had a clean slate as far as quilts go. So that was a few years ago. Since then, I think I've started 3 more, maybe 4. Oh, I did do some more quilting after I got back from the retreat, but I can't talk about it because it's a secret. So that's all I can say about that, because I don't know who watches my videos. Okay, so here's my journal. Here's my wiffle-waffle. I was going to make a journal, then I wasn't, but I did. Now it's got, that's beeswax. It'll come off. So here's what I've got. I've got, this is bothering me. I can erase these now. Got watercolor paper, vellum, that True Ray construction paper, watercolor paper, and there's 3 signatures of, it has a mark on it. So this is probably, I probably could have just done 2 signatures if I really wanted to fill this up. So I'm not sure if I want to take this with me to Colorado, or just take one of the others that I've made. But there you go. That's how I make a sketchbook / art journal. I hope everyone's doing well, and I'm going to try and make another video that might post while I'm gone, so I don't go so long without a video. Today is October 1st, and I will be back on October like 6th or something. So I may try and make one more video today if I have time, and then I can have it post while I'm gone. So anyway, I hope you guys are doing well, and go make something and enjoy September or October. I can't believe it's October. Anyway, thanks for being with me, guys. Bye.